Hello viewers, good evening. In this tutorial, I'm going to be doing a theory question for the new lower secondary school curriculum, that is a selected number in ICT. Now I'm going to start doing theory questions at my YouTube channel, and this is the first theory question I'm recording alongside the various practical questions I always record. This is the cover page that's going to be used at the video, and it's really explaining what I'm going to be doing in this video. This is the cover page, the new lower secondary school curriculum ICT theory video tutorials, and this is just a heading concerning what I'm going to do. That is a piece of advice to administrators on how to set up computers for public access, focusing on restricting unauthorized access and protecting against viruses and malware. Now at my YouTube channel, so far I've been doing a lot of videos that concern mostly practical, but I'm going to also start doing some theory questions. You could share with me some theory questions to really see what
Origin only had
concerning those questions. Now this is my channel, and a big shout out to the subscribers, those who are viewing whatever content I upload at my channel. The latest video at my channel is word processing trial number for advanced level, and it was uploaded some 2 weeks ago. Now I'm doing a lot of videos at my channel. Feel free to go and watch various tutorials concerning subsidiary ICT A level and ICT for ordinary level, that is the new lower secondary school curriculum. Now these are some of the A level questions, but it's a mixture of both A and O, so it's up to the user. You could read the title of the video and see whether it suits you. If it does, you just click the play button to, of course, watch the video. Okay, now to the question I'm going to be doing, a theory question concerning ICT. I'm going to be using a PDF. I'm going to be using this guide here. So I'm going to right click and open the guide with Firefox so that I can use the Firefox program to view whatever content I'm going to be discussing in the tutorial. So this is the cover photo on top. I've already talked of that, and this is the scenario question that I'm going to be doing in this tutorial. A certain school wants to provide public access to computers so that visitors can surf the internet, send emails, and access educational materials. The school administrators are concerned about the security of computers and how to prevent unauthorized access. They need guidance on setting up the system to ensure public safety and maintenance of the computers, and the tasks are: advise the school administrators on how to set up computers for public access, focusing on restricting unauthorized access. And the last task is recommend security measures that will help protect computers from viruses, malware, and data breaches. Now, according to the question, according to the NLSC New Lower Secondary School Curriculum ICT question, in the scenario, it seems administrators want to set up public access to computers. They want to set up a place with a lot of computers, or with computers that can be accessed by anyone from within the community, of course, for internet, sending emails, and other education materials. But it seems the administrators are concerned about the security of those computers and how to prevent unauthorized access. So they need your guidance on how to do all that and to maintain the computers. So it's even clear at the task that you're supposed to advise school administrators on how to set up computers for public access, focusing on restricting unauthorized access. Now this is my take about the question that I've just read previously in the tutorial. Now at theory questions, I'm going to be doing some questions at my channel, and for theory questions, of course, it may not be the exact match. You could have your own idea. We could share ideas at the theory questions I may be doing. So if you share an idea with me and then I share mine with you, then things could be working out for both of us. And this is just my take. And I'm not saying that this is the 100% right take concerning the question. This is my idea, and this is how I answered the tasks. Now, of course, at a task, you number it, i.e., number one, part A, you give it a title, and the title, according to the tasks, I'm giving it a title. A senior 4 or a senior 3 or a senior 2 doing a question, a theory question in ICT, your question should have a title on top to really display what you're trying to answer. And in most cases, your question paper is not attached with your answers you write, so it's better for you to have a title so that someone may not even look at the tasks you're trying to do, but of course a title is going to just guide them on what you're answering. Now my title was Advice to the School Administrator on how to set up the computers for public access, focusing on restricting unauthorized access. So I'm going to just guide the administrator on how to set up the computers for public access, and of course focusing on restricting unauthorized access. So if I can give my title like that, if I can use some pen here, I can use a color like red and click OK. Now this is my title. I could just put a tick there to show that it's a title. Now after the title, I can go to the problem statement. Of course, at a theory question, after giving your title, you can decide to put the problem statement, and according to my tasks I've just read, part A, the first one, the problem statement is the issue at hand is that the school administrators want to provide public access to computers so that visitors can browse the net and access other materials, but they are concerned about the security of computers and prevention of unauthorized access. So the write-up below will be stressing all of this. Now, a problem statement can be generated from the scenario. According to the scenario I'm doing, the problem is administrators want to provide public access to computers, but they are concerned about security of those computers and of course prevention of unauthorized access. So I can pick a pen again, then I can just label this to show that maybe I did a problem statement here at the second level. So I can continue to the introduction of the very question. The introduction is, at the introduction I can decide to define the keywords that are of course in my scenario, and the keywords should be relating to ICT. According to my keywords, internet is the global connection of computers, in brackets, pool of information. Whereas email is electronic mail. These are messages distributed by electronic means from one computer user to another via a network. And it is one of the services that are offered by the internet. Now I've just defined some keywords that are in the scenario, and as well, if you want to define more keywords like unauthorized access, because it's also a keyword, you can decide to define it in your introduction. And you can also define public access of computers in your introduction if at all you want to define more keywords. And I'm not saying that this is the exact introduction you to give. These questions of NLSC, of course, introductions change, titles change, problem statements change, and you could not have the exact match like mine. This is new way. It's not the old style of answering questions. A new way of answering questions, every student, every learner, every learner can generate their own correct ideas. So that's my idea at the introduction, and you can also generate your own idea according to the scenario and the tasks. So I can put, of course, a mark at introduction here, and then I go to the following points. We'll explain how school administrators can set up computers for public access and also restricting unauthorized access. So these are just the points on how computers can be set up for public access, and of course I've just given a point and I've explained it, how computers can be set up for public access. Now point number one, if you want to set up computers for public access, of course connect, combine networking devices and come up with a server machine. So of course, if administrators want to set up computers for public access, for people to access them publicly, they need to first connect or combine networking devices and come up with a server machine to control the rest of the computers. Now, for the administrators to successfully set up computers for public access, they shall need to first come up with a server computer, in brackets the main computer on a network. A server computer is one that controls all other client computers on the network. The server should have a good processing speed, i.e. over 3.0 GHz, RAM over 32 GB, and SSD storage to smoothly run clients connected to it. Additionally, networking devices like routers, switches, hubs can be connected in place by qualified personnel to all enhance network activities. Now this is the first point and it's so important. Of course, whenever you're setting up computers to publicly be accessed, you need to combine of course nodes or computers in the network, and you need to come up with a server. And what I've done is I have indicated the capacities of course that can make up a server. What am I highlighting? They are so important. There are important aspects that can make up a computer. A server, it should be strong. It should have strong processing speeds. So I've just displayed that as my first point. Now the point, if you're answering a theory question, your point should be clearly displayed. That's why mine is clearly displayed, and after displaying it, I put a full stop and explain whatever the point is all about. So this is it with the first point. I can decide to also put a mark there because of course it's right. I need to combine computers and I need to come up with a server machine. Next, physical security is a point. Now whenever you're setting up computers to publicly be accessed, because what I'm trying to answer is I'm advising school administrators on how to set up computers for public access, focusing on restricting unauthorized access. And my second point is just about physical security. Full stop. Administrators should first ensure that physical security of the computers is enhanced or boosted. This can be brought about by having door locks, burglars in both windows and doors, security cameras, alarm locks and seals, and all these to protect the primary school computers from being stolen by thieves. Of course, when you're setting up computers for public access, you need to provide physical security to them. So it's what I'm just explaining here. You need to provide physical security to those computers. So the answer is you should have physical security when you're setting up computers for public access. Okay. Next is network topology. Of course, when you're setting up computers for public access, you need to have a topology. A topology is just a physical setup or layout of computers within a room or building. So the administrators of the primary school, while setting up computers, should have a topology that may be easy for them to use. In this case, a bus topology, a star topology is of great advantage because they're easy to install and maintain. So they need the topology, of course, when setting up computers for public access. So this point is also right. They need a topology when setting up computers for public access. Next, the next point is user accounts and permission. When these people are setting up computers for public access, they need to give the computers user accounts. Now, a computer that is publicly accessed should not have one account, i.e., a computer should have a lot of accounts um, that are, of course, accessed by various people. In this case, if I'm to use my internet here, if I'm to display this on internet using Chrome here, because the point was user accounts and permission. When I'm to connect to internet here to display user accounts to you, the viewer, well, this can be important. So at my computer, I can type in user accounts and sorry about that. Type user accounts. Anyway, this could take some time. Let me use at least Firefox here to display the user accounts. Firefox, new tab, user accounts. Okay, so if you have a user account at your computer, an example of a user account could be an example could be this one here. If I can tap at this and then I see what's inside. Now this is an example of a user account. For example, this is a guest and this one is bleepingcomputer.com. Maybe this one is the owner of the computer and this other account is supported by the guest. So if a guest is using your computer, a guest can use a guest user account instead of logging into the main account. Of course, to avoid data breaches, to avoid, of course, seeing information that you're not supposed to see, etc. Now that's an example of a user account I can display. And there's this other account of Windows 10, etc. Now that's an example of a user account, and the point was just about that. Now, user accounts and permission. A user account is a unique entity often associated with a username and a password that allows individuals gain access to a system or to a computer. For this case, the administrator can create or can use specialists to create various user accounts. That is to say, the admin account. The admin account can be used by, of course, those administrators that are managing the computers, maybe at the whole. And a public account can be used by all other people who are using the computers. And the student's account can be used by the students of the school. Because the computers are going to be used by various people, not only children at a school, but the computers are going to be used by various, entities. So admins can have their account, public can have their account, maybe the admin account can be locked with a password, and a public account can be, of course, open, and a student account can be also locked for security issues. Because this question here, we are focusing on restricting unauthorized access. And if you want to restrict unauthorized access, you just lock an admin account with a password. And then you can lock maybe a student's account with a password, and you leave a public account without a password, as an example with the question. All these accounts can be accessed by the right individuals to properly operate them in line with what they want to access. This will restrict unauthorized users to the computers, provided individuals use the right accounts they are meant to use. Now that's a very important point of creating user accounts and permission when you're setting up computers for public access. My next point was network operating system software. Now, a network operating system software is also needed when setting up computers for public access. Of course, at the first point I talked of combining networking devices and coming up with a server machine. Now, a server machine is going to be the major machine on a network, that is right, but at a server machine, we need to give it a network operating system. I was around user accounts here, then I'm getting to a NOS. Yes, network operating system. So the NOS is the network operating system, and it is needed. It is a type of software that can be used to manage a group of computers on a network. For this case, the administrators are supposed to select an appropriate NOS to help in the setting up of computers for public access. Here, they can use NOS like N computing, to mention but a few, that will help in managing the computer network. So NOS is a system software that manages computers on a network, and it's so important. You need it when you're setting up computers for public access. And I've used an example of N computing. N computing is a network operating system that can be used on servers and clients on a network. So an example of N computing NOS, it's a very common NOS, network operating system. It's very commonly used in labs and in cafes, etc, etc. Sorry about that. So that is NOS. Those are some of the points that can help the administrators to set up computers for public access. If you have more points, feel free to share with me the points you could have to guide administrators on how to set up computers for public access. You note that theory questions are wide. They can require various approaches, various responses, etc, etc. If a tutorial is made about a theory question and you have a point I miss out, you can share it with me, and then we see whether it can be in line with the question that I'm trying to do. Now, with the above points on how to set up computers for public access, the administrator should follow the points below to restrict unauthorized access. Of course, you're setting up computers for public access for anyone to use. You also need to restrict some negative measures that could be done to your computers, or you need to follow some points to restrict unauthorized access to the computers. Remember, the computer is being accessed by a lot of people. It is publicly accessed, and you need to come up with some points to restrict some unauthorized access that could happen. For example, I've talked of user accounts. You're creating user accounts, but that is not enough. You need to provide more restriction with the user accounts so that you don't encounter problems like data breaches. So how do you bring about restricting unauthorized access? So point one is you need to implement strong passwords. A password is a secret code that can be used to prevent a computer and a document from unauthorized access. Admins can use passwords to restrict unauthorized access from some individuals who may want to wrongly use computers. This can restrict unauthorized access. Of course, creating a password may not just be enough, but making it strong is so important. So the point is right. You make a password strong. Point two is MFA, multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication, MFA. Now, this factor will help the administrators add an extra layer of security by requiring more than one proof of identity, i.e., even if a password is stolen, it is still hard for an unauthorized person. I made a mistake here. It was supposed to be it's still hard for UN, an, then I repeat, an unauthorized person to access the information. Now, MFA is just multi-factor authentication, whereby a device is having at least 2 or 3 measures of security. For example, it's common with iOS devices. They may require a passcode plus a face ID. So if someone maybe gets to know your passcode, the device could also require face ID. That's multi-factor authentication. there are 2 layers or more of security. It is common with advanced devices. So of course, when you're setting up computers for public access and you want to restrict unauthorized access, you need multi-factor authentication at your computers. So important there. So another point that can help you restrict unauthorized access at your computers after setting them up for the public, you need to employ security awareness training. You need to train the people working at the cafe or at the hall to be aware of phishing and other activities like hacking that could be done at a computer. If someone is aware, of course they are aware when typing a password in a computer, they are aware when dealing with people who are using the computers publicly. So employees should be aware, they should have training, of course, to make them aware of whatever happens at the computers. Then you need to regularly make software updates. The point is regular software updates. When you want to restrict people, or when you want to restrict unauthorized access to your computers, you need to always update your softwares, you update your systems. And updates are patches added to a software for better results. A patch is just a small additional feature that is added in a software after it has been updated. Now, this is crucial for restricting unauthorized access because updates often fix security or software weaknesses that could let attackers in. When a computer has softwares that are updated or the system is updated, now it's going to be hard for hackers or hard for unauthorized people to access that system because it's updated. But if it's not updated, then it's going to be prone to hackers. So that is the point. So it's right here. And also I was at this point of use secure networks. So you're supposed to use secure networks at the administrators are supposed to use secure networks. They're supposed to connect to Wi-Fi networks that they know to provide data breaches and to come up with the right security while using computers. Part B and the last part of the question is recommend. They wanted us to recommend security measures that will help protect computers from viruses, malware, and data breaches. How do the administrators protect computers from viruses and malware? So how do they supposed to protect computers from viruses and malware and data breaches? So that was the part B of the question. I put a heading there that recommended security measures that will help protect the computers from viruses, malware, and data breaches. So that is the heading, and it's just part B. It's part B of the question. A virus, it is just an introduction or what I'm trying to explain here. A virus is a type of malicious software designed to spread from one computer to another, often causing damage to data and system operations. I think I repeated this, there's a mistake here. And I was often, so this is out, I repeated this is out. Okay, a virus is a type of malicious software designed to spread from one computer to another, often causing damage to data and system operations. And a data breach or a data leakage is the unauthorized exposure or disclosure or loss of personal or sensitive information. And a security measure is a policy designed to protect information, systems, and physical spaces from potential threats. The primary school The primary school administrator needs the following security measures to help them protect the computers from viruses, malware, plus data breaches. Otherwise, if the precautions below aren't considered, computers will be at risk. So what do you do to avoid computer viruses, malware, and data breaches? Point one, you perform data backups. Now, a data backup is going to help you deal with a data breach. A backup is a copy of your information separately stored in some location like external drive, clouds, etc. The primary school administrators can perform a data backup for all their data at least on a regular basis, and all this to avoid data breaches. Now, if you perform a data backup, you're not protecting your data from viruses. What you're doing, you're protecting your data from a data breach. Remember in the introduction here, I talked of a data breach as a data leakage or disclosure of your information or changing your information. So maybe a data backup can prevent, actually it may not prevent your information from being changed, but it's going to provide a way out in case your information is changed. I hope you get that. And a data backup is not going to protect your information from a virus, but it's going to give you a backup copy in case your original files are affected by a virus. That's an important point if you're protecting your work or your computers from malware, viruses, and data breaches. Next point here is install an updated antivirus and a reputable one. So of course the primary school administrators should bring about or should bring on board a security measure of an antivirus to protect machines from viruses and malware. An antivirus that is updated will be able to scan, locate, find, and repair damaged files of the computer affected by a virus. Now the point here is not installing an antivirus. You not only install an antivirus, you're supposed to also update it, and you're supposed to use a reputable one, a known antivirus. Known antiviruses can include Kaspersky, Smartdav, AVG, to mention but a few. So that is the point that can, of course, help you from viruses, malware, and data breaches. So another point is run an antivirus scan. You run a scan. Of course, in case you're affected by a virus, you can run a scan. Not only installing an antivirus, administrators can also run a scan on a daily basis or on a weekly basis to locate virus malware on computers to avoid further damage. Okay, and also, how do you protect your computers from viruses, malware, and data breaches? You can also ensure that you use secure Wi-Fi networks, or you avoid insecure Wi-Fi networks. You should use the Wi-Fi network that is in place. It's at the public hall, because the question is about the primary school setting up a public hall for computers to be accessed. So you should only use that Wi-Fi network. You do not need to connect to any other Wi-Fi network you don't know, because you could get a malware there, or you could get a virus there. So the explanation is, this is another security measure that can help protect computers from viruses, malware. Primary school administrators will acquire a Wi-Fi network that is secure, but not connecting to any network they may not be sure of. And the last point I gave here was keep up to date, or keep your softwares up to date. Keep your system up to date to avoid malware and viruses plus data breaches. So administrators should ensure that all systems, browsers, and important applications should be up to date, automatic updating. This will eliminate software's flaws that allow hackers view your activity to steal information. Keeping up to date will require a stronger computer, all this to avoid computers slowing down. The point is you should keep all your systems, all your softwares up to date. Recently in the very video I've said, if your softwares are up to date, chances are going to be low for you to have a virus or malware affecting you. But if they're not up to date, then you're going to be prone to viruses. And when you're making updates with your computer, or when you're making automatic updates, what I've written here, when your updates are automatic, you're going to just require a strong computer, of course, to avoid the slowing down of a computer. Of course, updates are made, but your computer should be a strong one to support whatever updates you're making. Of course, when you want to see the strength of a computer or the capacity of a computer, you can just open the icon, this PC, and then check the storage first. That is one. That is my storage. I've not yet put a lot of files at the storage. Or you can even right click at this PC, you go to properties and check the capacity of the computer, i.e. my processor is Intel Ara i7 10th generation 1.8 2.3 and RAM is 8 64-bit. Seems it's a good computer that can support whatever updates you can make. But if your computer is not good, you may pause with the updates of the system. Then, in conclusion, therefore, the primary school administrator should follow the various ways of protecting computers against viruses and malware, plus data breaches, through points like keeping up to date, using strong passwords, connecting to secure networks, and so on. And if all these are followed, the computers can be set up easily for public access. Now, if you're giving a conclusion, you can put some points you've been explaining at your essay or at your letter or at your report. You need to put the points you're trying to explain there. Now, for example, I've mentioned some points here at the conclusion that, of course, to bring about safety, you should put all those in mind. So that is it with the question. I've just been going through how computers can be set up for public access and restricting unauthorized access and protecting your computers from viruses, malware, and data breaches. This is part B of the question. I started from this, I went to this, then this, then this. Feel free to go through the video. If I've been fast somewhere, you can pause a bit, rewind, do some noting. If you feel the question is so important to you, the question is important for S4 learners, for S3 learners as well. And according to the question, what they're trying to test, a learner's knowledge with computer hardware plus computer software as chapters in ICT plus computer networks. That has been it with the video. It's going to be uploaded on my channel as the 98th. If I could check at the channel, the theory question I've been doing, the theory question I've been approaching is going to be uploaded at my channel on the 31st of March 2025, and it's the 98th video of the channel. If I can check at the YouTube channel here, we use the Firefox here. Okay, so if I can go to YouTube, then I access my channel here. Feel free to go to the channel, and it's having a lot of resources of both A level and level. And also such videos are going to be available. Those are theory videos. They're going to be available at the channel. So it's going to be the 98th video. We're soon hitting 100 video uploads. So it's going to be available as the 98th video soon. So feel free to go at the video and do some studying. I talked of A-level videos. At the latest video I've done, that is word processing trial number. If you can click at the video,
Hey, good afternoon.
and then even other practical videos of ordinary level, like I've done a video about some ordinary level questions, so they're also available at my channel. Then videos I've done about web design, they're also available, etc, etc. Feel free to go to the channel and do some ICT studying there. So that has been it for the very first theory question of S4 new curriculum. That has been it for the video, and this is the cover photo that's going to be available at the channel. So that is a piece of advice to the administrators on how to set up computers for public access, focusing on restricting unauthorized access and protection against viruses and malware. So that has been it for the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the view.